We got an oil and gas guy. His name is Jay Young. He and his family have been in the business, forever. He's the president and CEO of King Operating. We've talked a lot, Jay, about the price of oil. Let's start with the price of oil right now because I don't know what's going for a barrel, but I have noticed here in the greater Houston area that the price of gasoline at the pump has dropped off quite a bit here over the course of the last couple of weeks. I think we're averaging somewhere around $2.89 a gallon, which is better than we were doing. What's going on in the world that the price of gasoline's come down a little bit, at least here in Texas?
Yeah, well, obviously, Jimmy, you know that it's all about supply and demand, and we've had a lot of supply on the markets, and the turmoil over there in the Mideast right now with Israel, it's obviously terrible, and hearts out to the people out there that are suffering from people. I know tons of people that have just all different types of relatives, over there, and I tell you, it's something else. But when you look at the oil reserves and look at oil prices right now, we've had a big supply of oil coming in, and a lot of the cuts that were going to happen did not happen. So we've had a good supply here lately. And then the oil came up a little bit. I believe oil prices will start moving up a little bit more, and gas prices will start coming up. Once this turmoil is over and everything's kind of back to normal. And if it does, the problem is it may not. And what I mean by that is there's so many things that can happen. I mean, with Israel, China, Russia, there's just so many different things that can happen. Iran is one of the big problems right now. And if something happens, Iran, there's 3 or 4 million barrels a day right there that's cut off, and people, will just have to suffer because gasoline prices will move up. And but right now we're seeing, the price kind of coming down and the turmoil not being as bad as it was. They're releasing some hostages, so if that continues right now to happen, we'll see prices kind of soften.
Well, when demand for oil starts shrinking, that's a sign of recession. Texas, I read, is pumping as more than they've ever been able to pump. They're just pumping full time, doing their best. But Strategic Petroleum Reserve down to 17-day supply after Biden drew it down and promised he'd refill it. Now he's going to have to refill it at $90 a barrel.
Exactly. Yeah, and we need that oil, obviously. Somebody mentioned, well, it's the largest, stockpile of oil in the world. Yeah, I know, but we use a lot of oil. We have as George Bush said it, in his State of the Union address, a few years ago, he said, we have a huge addiction to oil. Just think about it, from plastics to asphalt to airplanes for traveling to cars. We have a huge addiction to oil, and we still need 20 million barrels a day in the United States, and we're only producing 13, which is doing great. The Eagle Ford, the Permian, we're on all cylinders there. We're not producing as much as we could right now, and the reason why that's just public companies aren't coming back to drilling like they were before. We could be producing a lot more, but that's a whole different story and a whole different segment. If you want to have me on in any other time, we can talk about that. I know you want to talk about the strategic reserves because, Biden let all that oil go. Trump fills it up at $20, $30 a barrel. And then, Biden, it was his fault that he put the oil back on the market, right during the election because he wanted gas prices to go down. And he said it wasn't needed at the time, but we do need that strategic petroleum reserve. And it's 17 days is nothing.
Yeah,
man, just think about that. We go into a big war, and which there's several wars going on right now around the world. But if we get really involved in one, or if the oil is shut off, and we need that oil, we just don't have it.
And what did we get for using that strategic reserve? All we did was get a slight lowering of gasoline prices.
We got the Democrats elected in the midterms.
I guess.
But big news today is the big globalists are buying up the independents, and that is not good news.
Okay. All right. We'll have to get into that some other time. Thanks, Jay. Always good to talk to you, buddy. Take care. Jay Young. He's the president and CEO of King Operating.